So shall we start with you, Rob?
I guess I'd like to give a basic outline of what I understand of resonances between philosophy of the implicit and Zen, and
Okay.
I'd like to hear what Isha thinks. Okay.
Okay.
I actually remember talking to Gene about this territory that we're about to enter. I teased him and I told him that he had written millions of words about what cannot be said. And he kind of smiled and he said, yeah, that he wanted to map out the coastline between what can be said and what can't be said. And he wanted to describe every inch of that coastline. And that's what he was about. So I understand a fundamental reality of the human condition, which both Gendlin and Zen Buddhism are addressing. And that is that language has a great deal of power, tremendously useful, and at the same time it creates an illusion of stability. It's essentially making discriminations.
Okay.
And it reifies. And it reifies the discriminations, so they seem to be just fixed and other possibilities are gone. We have this funny thing where we create a very vivid reality, which is also not real. Although it's not also not real. It's not real. It has a reality, but limited. So we deal with that in different ways. Gene's way of dealing with it was that, of course, we can't say, or that we can't use language to identify what is beyond language. But what we can do is we can dip into it over and over again in different ways and feel the kind of the texture of what's beyond language by almost moving a finger over a textured surface. And so you can feel something that way. And so that's a way of interacting with the implicit. And it seems to me that Zazen, at least as far as I know so far, seems to slow down the discrimination process. So we kind of back off from it, or we feel a deeper identity in our bodies instead of living in our heads. And so it's a different way of addressing the same problem. So before I go further, I'd like to hear what Isha thinks about what I've said so far.
Hello.
Hey.
What you said so far sounds so interesting to me, and also I feel a lot of commonality or common ground between Zen and the Gendlin's philosophy, and I'm very much excited. For example, the main doctrine of Buddhism, main teaching of the Buddha is no self and impermanence. The translation of anatta and anicca. Art is a prefix to negate the which comes after the A, right? So anatta means no Atman. Solid entity. Self is not a solid entity. It's a process. Here, I use the Gendlin's keyword process. So self is a process. It's not a noun. And another one is impermanence, anicca. Everything change. So both pointing the reality which cannot grasp through the language, because language is the power to stop the process so that we can understand, we can grasp.
Say that again?
Both teaching anicca and anatta, impermanence or no self, pointing the reality which cannot be grasped by the language, because language is the instrument to stop the constantly changing process, and for that make it possible for us to understand as something, which reality is not something, but we want to take it as something. So we feel
take it as something.
Yeah, we feel we got it. Got it. We feel like we can grasp it, and then we feel happy or we feel secure.
Yeah.
In the constantly changing the reality, constantly changing the world.
The illusion of language.
Yes. That's what you call the illusion of stability.
The illusion of
stability.
Of stability, yes.
Stability, yes. So the point of Buddha's teaching is how to awaken from the illusion or dream of stability. Without being scared. We have a reaction, innate reaction pattern against instability, right? So that's why we are afraid of getting out of the cocoon of stability.
Yes.
But that's simply living this life as a dream. So that's a pity. It's a good one. But so Buddha recommends us how to get out of or awakened from the illusion of stability without falling into the, scared, emotional, without having emotional reaction. So then Buddhism emphasizes, or Buddha also not only talk about philosophy of illusion of stability, but also he offers us the practice, a practical teaching how to get awakened from the illusion without falling into the prey of emotional reaction. So it's a philosophy, but very practical philosophy. That's how I understand.
Okay.
Your turn.
A couple of things. One is that, of course, the no self and no stability, that's so much part of Gendlin's philosophy that I actually forgot to mention it, even in what I wrote at the beginning. Clearly no self, it's a process. And of course, the world is not only process, but it's a continuous creation.
Yeah, evolving.
Of the process of discriminating is driven by our concerns, our interests, and so on. So that there's a kind of something like karma behind it.
Yes.
And so I'm going to be interested in this or that, and I'm going to start creating a world. And so that's very much part of the process model.
Yes. And also the first statement you made at the beginning of our conversation, you mentioned, you referred to Zazen, the main practice of Zen. And I really agree with you that Zazen is an effort to, I think Zazen is designed to counter, to work with the illusion of stability. we constantly creating this illusion of stability. We create constantly creating and also maintaining this illusion of stability.
Yes.
Because in reality, everything is flowing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have to keep working to hold this stability.
Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of work.
Yeah. That's why we get tired. So without this hard work to constructing and then maintaining the sand castle in the flow of the river, but that's why we feel so busy and we are deeply driven. Somehow we are beating by someone to keep working.
Yeah.
That's
it's almost like being driven. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Zazen is a very unique activity to stop that hard work temporarily, and see and feel the world and ourselves aftermath of stopping this hard work. After effect. So once it's
aftermath. Yeah.
Aftermath of stopping this hard work temporarily.
Yeah, I'm not understanding that part. Can you say that again?
So I said we keep working so hard as if we are driven by someone.
Yes.
Something, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But it's possible for us to stop or set aside that hard work. Kind of we can have a rest from that hard work temporarily. And see and feel the world and ourselves of the after we stop that hard work.
Yeah.
So sometimes we surprised, wow, the world is so quiet and it's peaceful. So we discover the sum. Of course, it's a fragmentary, not a whole picture of the reality, but somehow we peek into the reality out of the cocoon of the illusion of stability.
Yes.
So it's a kind maybe if I connect the Zazen with the Gendlin's philosophy. It's an embodied philosophy of Gendlin's. Zazen is the embodiment of the Gendlin's philosophy of the implicit.
Yeah. It's a way of slowing everything down.
It's a new way of describing Zazen, which is very interesting, exciting to me.
Yeah.
I never explained Zazen this way before. Thanks to your explanation, somehow I got a hint how to look at Zazen under the new light. So I never said this. It's not sophisticated because that expression, the phrase just popped up in my head right now. So, so Zazen is the effort to embody what Gendlin said in his philosophy of implicit.
Oh yeah.
So it's a kind of you talk about the metaphor of the
finger moving on a textured.
Yeah. So if I borrow that picture, maybe Zazen is jumping into the ocean of implicit with whole body and mind. Yeah. How about that?
I'm not sure. Jumping into the ocean of the implicit. And you talked about the moving finger. That has a deep meaning in Gendlin's philosophy. I wonder if you can say more about what you were picking up on.
Yeah, when you are mentioning the finger, I have association of that, what you said about the finger. In Zen, we often use all the teaching, written teaching is like a finger pointing the moon.
At the moon, yeah.
So the Zen master said, "Don't look at my finger."
Right.
People tend to look at the finger,
Yeah,
But the disciples should look at the direction which this
Yeah,
finger
I
is
understand.
pointing.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a different meaning.
Yes. It's just
So,
simple
yeah.
analogy or association,
Gene used to say that focusing is not going all the way there to the cosmic place. So he used to say, so in your analogy, Isho-san's analogy, it's not jumping into the ocean. And I like it that he said it was the coastline.
Yes.
Sometimes he would go in the water and sometimes he would be out of the water. So I think there is a difference there.
Yeah, I
whether
heard that.
you jump into the ocean or you walk the.
No, I intentionally use a phrase that dive into the ocean in order to clarify or shed the light the difference what Ikemi Sensei mentioned right now.
Yeah, the jumping into the ocean of the implicit.
Yeah, or walking at the edge. Walking at the edge of the explicit and implicit. Yeah, because you are talking about the scratching or touching the texture, right?
Yes.
So not the core of the implicit.
Yeah, there's a different meaning there.
This is a topic we should delve into a little bit deeper.
So I want to say something else first, and then come back to that. So I think that Gendlin is, as a Western philosopher, he's coming out of a tradition of what he calls the unit model, which is the scientific Western scientific worldview. Which is the illusion of stability turned into a monster. And so
can I stop you? Why he used the expression of unit model?
So what he means by the unit model is that fundamentally nothing is just what it is in reality. Everything is change and process. And also the very nature of a concept is that it has a reality that excludes the implicit. So like a highlighter is just a highlighter, and it has, and then if you go into it, if you think about it, or if you use it, then it has many sort of other meanings.
Yes.
When we think about it, it's just a highlighter, and it's an abstract concept. And so the unit model has things be just what they are. So the world is made out of atoms and molecules that are just what they are, and he's saying that all of that is a useful way of thinking. He's not suggesting we do away with it because it gives us science and it's wonderful, but it's fundamentally a limited way of understanding. In contrast, the process model is that nothing is ever just what it is. And he says that, and he shows that in a very careful way. There are many ways in which nothing is just what it is. So, but his contrast then is with fixed units versus process. And comparing Buddhism with philosophy of the implicit, I think we could say that Gendlin is trying to give us a grounded way of thinking about the implicit, about what can't be thought about. And he's trying to show that it relates to our conceptual and logical way of thinking in very precise ways. So it's not arbitrary, and that we can actually interact with the implicit. And so I think the contribution, one contribution he's made is that instead of having two worlds, we've got like the world of science, which everybody knows is true. And then we have the kind of the romantic or the fluffy dreams of Buddhists and romantics or whatever. That actually we can ground the implicit also, that we can show that the unit model way of thinking is wrong in several respects, and that we a more correct way of thinking would include the implicit. So he's, in a way, the liberation is from the Western dogma of fixed entities that's been, you could be traced back to Plato, probably.
So what you said sounds like the relationship between the Newtonian physics and quantum physics, because quantum physics include Newtonian physics, right?
I'm not understanding.
Yeah.
そうニュートニアンでいいんですかね。
そうですね。
Newtonian physics, I get that, but you're saying you're saying a relationship between quantum.
Quantum physics can include Newtonian physics as part of it.
As a special case.
It does not have special case. You know, at the scale of our ordinary life, you know, we don't have to talk about Einstein's theory of relativity or Heisenberg's, you know, the principle of uncertainty. In our daily context, you know, right? So the Newtonian physics really work well, but it does not cover all of the reality. So we need to have an expanded version of physics, you know, called contemporary physics. Thanks to the Gendlin's philosophy of the implicit, we can be aware of our ordinary common sense understanding of the world is a unit model. We don't have a self-awareness that
we don't have a what?
We cannot have a self-awareness that we are living on the base of unit model. So thanks to Gendlin's philosophy, we can acknowledge that we are living on the basis of unit model, right? Unit model people don't have understanding that's a unit model, right? They believe it's a reality.
That's right. Exactly.
So the Newtonian physicist can understand the Newtonian physics is a rough sketch of the reality.
Is a what?
Rough sketch.
A rough sketch of reality. It's important to notice that general relativity and also quantum physics are both unit model as well as Newton.
Yes.
And that one of the things is that quantum physics doesn't fit the unit model, although the theory of quantum physics is still unit model. And then so the clash between the model and the reality that they're getting all the time is called a paradox. Right? And so
let me see if I understood that. And so quantum physics and relativity are both unit models. And what did you say about paradox?
Well, that quantum physics, the behavior of subatomic particles violates the unit model. Right?
So they fail to describe the behavior of the subatomic particle.
They fail to describe what?
the behavior of
behavior. No, they describe it. They describe it beautifully. They just can't understand it. Right? The scientists at the beginning, I think it was Schrodinger, but I'm not sure. He was so disturbed by what he was finding. He was saying, if this turns out to be real, I'm sorry I went into physics. I wish I'd become another. You know.
But you, Rob-san, and Gendlin also understand that paradox is only paradox because they rely on the unit model.
That's so exactly right.
They apply the philosophy of the implicit. It does not appear as a paradox.
That's right. That's right. In other words, when we have a paradox, it's not that Mother Nature is confused, it's that we're confused.
Wow, so, interesting.
Yeah. So I think we could talk of Gendlin that he's trying to free us from the tyranny of the unit model. And the unit model, every concept, every unit of the unit model, every word, every concept is pointing us towards a dead, rigid, false reality. And so everything has implicit in it that of sort of a nihilism. And it's in our world because our world is now a scientific world. And so every concept has in it kind of the meaninglessness and the vacuity of life. Denial of meaning. And Gendlin's philosophy, he does two things. He has a different kind of concept. So the concepts in the way they work point us toward the implicit always and point us toward life and towards process. And also he uses the concepts in a different way so that the way they're used, actually the concepts are like handles for a felt sense. So all of the terms of the process model are like handles in focusing. And in that way, they're always pointing towards a felt sense experience of reality. So in that way also, they continuously point us toward the more.
Because that sounds like a Zen master asking disciple, showing this, asking the disciple, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this? So if say it's a ball pen, then they must scold or just hit him.
Right.
Apparently
there was a lot of fighting back in those places in the Zen.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they're beating each other up.
Yeah, that's right. Very strange pedagogy is behind it because because Zen master is try to push the disciple to make a radical shift about the commonsensical understanding of the name and the language.
Yes.
So if they say this is ball pen, then hit or yelled at or something like that, no, it's not pen because it can be used as a weapon, right?
Yes, and it has. There's just so much here. Like you could never. You could never exhaust what it is.
Yeah, that's right. Nowadays, I often use this example, like I have a experience of having a public dialogue with a percussionist.
With a who?
Percussionist, the drummer.
A drummer, a percussionist, yes.
Percussionist,
okay.
Yes. And before our dialogue started, he was kind of tuning the drum, that he put that beat drum on the floor and then checking the sound, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he said the floor of this hall is so soft, and then I have to be aware of it, right? So he said, so I had a good idea, insight kind of. So his name is Sato. Mr. Sato. So for you as a percussionist, the floor is a part of the drum because it strongly influences the sound of the so-called unit model drum, right?
Absolutely,
So
that's right.
The floor is the drum, part of the drum.
Yeah,
And he said, of course, not only the floor, wall, ceiling,
absolutely.
also even the audience.
Yes.
During winter time, many people wear the thick fur, down jacket or so. So it has a strong impact of the sound.
That's
So
right.
I have to, as a musician, he has to be aware of that kind of thing. So conclusion is everything, we say drum is this kind of piece, kind of unit. This is the drum. The commonsensically it's right, but living drum, which creates the performing drum, it includes the floor, ceiling, wall, audience,
Absolutely.
and also the percussionist. I hit his drum and a bad sound.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Now, that's chapter 1 of the process model.
So drum include everything.
Yes, absolutely.
So the drum includes the whole universe in a sense,
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Over
that
beyond.
it's useful for some purposes to think of the drum as a unit, but it's also incorrect.
Same logic should be applied to myself too.
Yes, yes. The breathing, he starts off with breath, and he points out that we usually think of the body as just a unit that's bounded by the skin. And he says, but actually our life includes breathing, which includes air. And we could think of the lungs expanding, pulling in the air, or we could think of the air coming in and expanding the lungs. And the truth is it's both. And you can think of it either way. And so then if you talk about a human body, a living body, you have to include the air because that's part of the life of the body. And then you also have to include the food that we eat and the buildings that we live in and the other people we relate to. And you have to include the sun that helps the food grow that we eat. And you have to include gravity.
So that's what I was saying, yes.
You have the whole universe. And he shows that anything short of that is just incorrect.
Right.
So now we go back to the Zazen. Is this touching or diving?
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, the after we talk about this, our whole body is the whole universe. This is the body that's incorrect, not wrong, but incorrect.
Yeah. It's partial and it's limited. And he says that you can, like these concepts, the idea that the body is the skin envelope, or any theory in general, it can be useful as long as you don't believe it.
So in Zazen practice, we are just we are, right? So that's and also before and after Zazen, we are just we are. Nothing changed in reality. But temporarily, while we are awake in the daytime, we dream. It sounds very strange. Daytime we dream, and then nighttime we wake. But our consciousness is having a rest.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean, and that actually you can say that in process model language, and it's it's true.
So it's during we are sleeping deeply, the reality of our being is revealed, right? Because we stop during deep sleep. Our reality in which we are living is revealed because we stop constructing the cocoon of the language.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds strange, but Zazen is wakefully experiencing what is happening during our deep sleep.
Not during REM, not during dream sleep, but actually during deep sleep.
Deep sleep, yes.
Okay.
Language, the function of language is subsided temporarily.
There's something that I'm picking up here is I think there's more negation of language in Buddhism, and there's more of a linguistic activity in focusing. So that's another place where I see some difference.
Yeah, that's what we are discussing about so far, because touching the reality like this or diving into. This is my understanding, personal understanding. Then it's a kind of, we should think about more like a stages. Two stages. One is we need to negate, or negate is too strong. We should go beyond the. We should get out of the illusion first, then come back to the use of language. Because otherwise, we are used by language instead of
used by language.
We use the language, right? So negation is not the ultimate goal of Zen. It's a kind of it's still on the way. Eventually, we have to creatively use language to save sentient beings. Yeah, if we simply negate the language, we cannot interact with people who are entrapped with language, right? Yeah. We don't have to negate or give up the language, but we have to know the true nature of or what language is all about.
That's right. Yeah.
We need an insight into what language is all about.
Yeah. So I understand the philosophy of the implicit as a kind of right thinking. As a kind of right thinking.
Right thinking.
Like one of the that points us toward the more, and in some way can be a meditation on the more. For example, the way in which the process model has an articulate, kind of beautiful way of describing the no self as process. So that you can, if in order to understand it, you have to go there experientially and experience yourself as no self. And so that's kind of a practice.
Yeah, kind of.
But it's using words to do it. So it's different from Zen in that way. And it's not plunging in.
You meant right thinking in the way of the eightfold.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly. Or also as a kind of jnana yoga. Also, yeah.
Jnana yoga.
Yeah, the yoga of just straightening your head out and getting rid of all the unit model bullshit. Yeah.
Would you show us the example of the process model exercise to experience the no self?
The exercise is the concept, is the philosophy. So the philosophy is difficult to understand because it's it's away from the unit model. It's a way that we're not used to think. So the exercise is the effort of letting go of your old concepts and understanding oneself and one's relationship to the world in a new way.
Is there any formulated procedure or method? Yeah, because I want to learn and try to apply those exercises to my Zen practice. I want to expand my Zen practice, including what you said, the exercise.
Yeah, but the exercise is intellectual exercise of learning concepts and building a conceptual system.
So is it like reading this process model again and again?
Yes, that would be the exercise. So it's like, the climbing structures that children have on their playgrounds. You can climb and you stretch your body and stuff. The process model is like that. It's like a climbing structure for our minds. It's just off of the unit model into a more open, more realistic understanding, including no self. So I can't say what he's saying about no self because it takes about 3 months to get there.
Climbing structure.
Yeah.
And then what did you say after that?
Well, that what the climbing structure does for a child is it exercises their body and stretches and builds muscles and stuff. And the process model does that for our relationship to the implicit. Wherever we are, we're engaged in, unless we're sitting, on Zazen, we're engaged with the world, and we're engaged with things that normally appear to be things. And the process model is a way of being engaged while constantly being reminded that these aren't unit entities, that they're process, and that I also am process.
And what also did you say?
That I also am process, that we're process.
Right.
Yeah. And it can be terrifying. Like I experienced, really, because you're losing what you thought was ground.
Yeah, we have to go through those crowd of unknowing.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
We have to go through the process of deconstructing our, the believed objective world and also subjective entity as myself, Even though we experience that temporarily the feelings, kind of scary feeling, but eventually we are, we stand on the ground firmly, and
that's right. We find in our process, in our living process, in our bodies, a different kind of ground, a process ground.
Because we experience that scary feeling or confusion when we engage in the Zazen practice. Because we are not explained that Zazen is a disconstruction of the illusion of the stability. We have no other such explanation. We just simply follow the instruction by the teacher, right? But once we engage in that kind of activity, as I mentioned, the process simply naturally happens, and then it shakes us. So once in a while we experience, the kind of experience of cloud, of going through the cloud of unknowing type of experience. But eventually we go through those clouds and then see the world more vividly, or more meaningfully.
Yes.
As you mentioned, the flower. That's what Buddha said. The first Zen episode is like one day Buddha picked up the flower, and then without uttering any words. It's very unusual, because usually he starts preaching using the words. The audience was expecting Buddha to start speaking something profound teaching, but at that day, Buddha just simply pick up the flower and then say nothing, right? And then one of the many big audience, the Mahakashyapa, smiled, and then Buddha said, "My Dharma is transmitted to them."
Yes.
So I think, maybe I'm wrong, but Mahakashyapa understood the Buddha's philosophy of implicit. So Mahakashyapa never said anything. He just simply smiled. So Buddha's picking up the flower, and then Mahakashyapa smile resonate, I think.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
It's a very beautiful story.
Yeah, and it's like this is reality without words.
So still we have the topic to discuss, the kind of why Gendlin chose to walk at the edge of between implicit and explicit, and Zen seems to recommend us to dive into the middle of the ocean.
I think that that Zen comes out of a different tradition. My sense is that in the East, in many ways, you have already the implicit very much part of your way of life. For example, I think it's in your writing, in the ideographic characters. There's a richness of meaning which we don't have in phonetic words.
Oh yeah.
Tao Te Ching, the famous phrase that the person who knows doesn't say. Person who does not know.
That's right. Yeah, the one who speaks doesn't know,
something like that.
And the one who doesn't speak, the one who knows doesn't speak. You asked why Gendlin chose to speak in such a way, and I think it's that he's coming out of a Western philosophic tradition, Western cultural tradition that has developed. Let me put it this way. People say that philosophy is not progressive, it's not cumulative, and they all come up with different answers. But Western philosophy actually has been cumulative and progressive, and it's progressed from a kind of assumption of essences and things being just what they are in a Platonic sense, and has now come correctly to a kind of postmodern emptiness where nothing has meaning, and that's experienced as frightening. And there's a way in which it's correct, but it hasn't gone far enough. And so I think Gendlin is trying to answer that and trying to carry that forward for the Western culture, so that we can find beyond postmodernism, we can find the implicit. Gendlin compared the process model. He said it was a spiritual book. It is a spiritual book, but he doesn't call it that because the words of spirituality and religion and God have been all cluttered up. They're all unit model concepts now, and they're useless. And so he's trying to lead us to a spiritual experience. He said in the way that Dostoevsky does in his novels.
Dostoevsky?
Dostoevsky.
Dostoevsky.
Yeah.
So as the Western philosophy developed, we experienced so-called linguistic turn, right?
Right.
But in the Western world, people are suffering from the kind of nihilistic situation as a result of this linguistic turn. So Gendlin tried to find the cure or healing of this nihilistic symptoms.
That's right. That's right.
Here and there.
Yeah, that's right.
But
I want to say that it's not just the linguistic turn. There's like 2,000 years of philosophy that led up to that, you know?
Yeah, but linguistic turn is a result of accumulation or development of Western philosophy, right?
That's right.
But for the sake of cure or healing, the main cause of this symptom is a unit model, right? So this disease.
Let me think. In some way, yeah. I think you can trace it back to Plato, and I think we could, like Plato in a way, he's unit model. So I guess you could say, but it's yeah, we could say the unit model in an early form of it.
So if the main cause of this symptom is unit model, we cannot cure those symptoms but by the treatment based on the unit model. That's why.
By the treatment, by what?
The symptoms caused by unit model cannot be cured or healed by the treatment based on the unit model.
There's well, yes, but go on. I'll say my but afterwards. Okay, so the problem isn't just the unit model. The problem is language, and so there are many different models that can be said with language. And so Jean's solution is actually to use language in a different way.
So we can imagine that there's two types of language based on the unit model, language based on the process model. Is that correct way to say?
I think so. Could we say maybe language that's used in a traditional way, which would include unit model, but also other models?
And Rob, you said, what did you say about the two languages, two types of languages?
Well, that the problem is really language. So, and like the unit model is one way of thinking. With you could have an organismic model, like an Aristotelian model, which isn't really the unit model. It's not modern science. It's a different way of thinking, but it's still language based, and it still thinks about essences.
And what did you say about what Isho said about the unit model language and process model language?
I think you could say that with just expand unit model to include more than just modern science. It's really how language is used. Usually language assumes, names for things imply that they have a fixed identity.
So Gendlin never gave up the language.
That's right.
He tried to save the language.
He tried to save the language. That's right. Yeah.
Then which language are we using now?
Well, I think we're using traditional language. We're not using process model language, but we're speaking about Zen and about spiritual experience, and so we're pointing towards the more than language.
So if we, this is a kind of thought experiment. If we use the language perfectly on the base of a process model, still we can use I you or they. So
with
what kind
different
of change?
meanings.
What out with different meanings? So the written word or spoken word, it does not change so radically, but the meaning we put into those expressions change.
Right, exactly.
I see.
Mm.
So we don't have to change the grammar or vocabulary.
Well, but we do. There's a problem. This is a problem in philosophy.
Yeah, so you can use the same language, but you have different meanings that
Different
are
meanings,
imbued in
yeah.
these languages.
And what I'm wanting to point to is that it's a problem in all philosophies, that
All philosophies.
you're going to change the complete orientation, the complete ground from which the language and the meanings emerge.
Mm.
You're doing a gestalt shift, so everything's going to have a different meaning.
A gestalt shift, I see.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
And-
this is
and
like
then-
a gestalt shift of philosophy, of the traditional
Yeah,
philosophy.
that's the whole world. Instead of we go from a picture of a rabbit to a picture of a duck, we go from a whole reality to a different reality. So then, if all the words have different meanings, and what some philosophers do is they make up new words, and that drives the readers crazy, and people don't read them. Some philosophers keep the old words and change the meanings. And then people read it and they think they understood it, but they haven't. And so, and what Gene has done is he's changed some words and he's kept other words with new meanings. So he's sort of a middle path.
And he made a lot of new words.
He made a lot of new words.
Gendlin はとにかく作ったと思います。特にプロセスの。Especially in the process model. He used to say, don't use words that everybody knows.
That's right.
Make up your new words.
That's right.
僕は学生の頃に
Because they'll think they understand.
But it's hard to understand the process model partly because there's so many new words in it.
Right, exactly. But the trade-off is that if he hadn't introduced the new words, then we'd think we understood, but we didn't.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Have you heard of Herbert Gunther?
Herbert Gunther.
Yeah.
No.
Well, he's a person who lived in...
Herbert Gunther.
the Tibetologist. He lived in Tibet for 10 years and studied with Tarthang Tulku and Chogyam Trungpa and all those people. Herbert Gunther made up all new words, and nobody can read them.
Well, thank you. I enjoy so much talking with you on the many different topics, but which is those topics are not scattering around, but somehow centering around some kind of implicit topic. So I'd like to, for the second part, I want to continue to touching that unknown or untold core of the question.
Yes.
はい、ありがとうございました。
And Rob, if you have some closing comments for this?
Yes, this has been wonderful, and I'm really feel privileged to have been able to be here and be part of this.
素晴らしい機会で参加できてよかったと思ってます。
There are a number of things I'd like to talk about tomorrow. One is the thing about touching and moving the finger, feeling texture. That has a meaning in Gendlin, which I think is resonant with my understanding of Zen, but I can't imagine how. And also the sunyata, or emptiness, nothingness. I feel a connection with what Gendlin calls the implicit, but I'd like to get more explicit.
Okay. Emptiness is the kind of a pointing finger to the moon of ungraspableness.
The moon of what?
Ungraspable.
Ungraspable. Yes. So in a way, we could say that the implicit is no thing. It's not a thing. No thing. And in that way, it's nothing. Yeah. One thing about it, though, is just preliminary, that I'm suspicious of any simple equivalence.
No, no,
Mm.
no,
To
no.
say that the
なんか、
implicit is like
そうね。
sunyata, that has to be wrong. But it feels like some kind of resonance.
The system
Okay.
behind the word is it's not or it's overlapping, but not exactly same.
That's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or maybe approached in a different way with
No,
different
yeah,
purposes
that's
in mind.
that's good way to say.